Welcome to another random review and how-to. Today, I'm going to teach you how to fix a ceiling. Now, I don't know anything about fixing ceilings, but I do know how to fall through them. And that's what happened here as I was trying to patch a hole in my flashing on the corner here. I have a peak, and I had some squirrels getting in. See the wet spot over here? They've been up there doing their business, so went up to go repair it, slipped, lost my footing, came through the roof. You see the pictures. Got a couple quotes on getting people to come out and fix these. I've had everything from $100 to $350, but for this little piece, the finish on it, I think I could do it myself. So this happened about a week ago. First thing I did, because it's been cold, is I actually put this board here. It's not board, it's cardboard. Taped it up around the area. Some of the pieces fell, so I had some roofing nails. I just pounded those pieces back up that I could that weren't completely destroyed and kind of put it there. So my first step here is to kind of measure out the area. I want to make sure, I know I have some studs going through here, so I want to make sure I hit the studs, because that's going to be important when we drill the piece back up. What I'm basically going to do is actually cut out a square that fits around this whole area, and then I'm going to bring that square up with drywall and trace it again, and then fit it back in there, drill it up, put in the plaster, and then do my finish on it. So each one of those steps is going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some time to dry. I want to make sure I have a nice layer of plaster on before I go and try to do the finish, and I want it to be dried. So first thing I'm doing here is going to measure. Now I do have a crack over here, but the piece isn't broken, so I'm going to try to just go a little bit past the actual piece. So I need about a 3-foot piece there by, we'll say 2.5 feet, just to cover ourselves. I want to make sure I have enough space around it too, because I know it's stable. Another thing I want to do too is just check and make sure that the squirrels aren't back in there. Now I did put a piece of board up there where they had a hole, but because I was a little injured from falling through because my leg was dangling, just kind of nailed it in, so I'm not sure if they're back in there. I don't want to get a surprise when I take this piece off, so I'll take you out in the garage here and show you how we're going to cut out this piece. Real quick, just want to take you through some of the tools I got. So I went and got some plastic putty knives. Just I figured that for what I'm doing, a one-time job, I don't need to spend $1 million, so the plastic ones are going to work for me and be fine. I got some 1.25" drywall screws. Just want to be able to go, my drywall's a 1/2 inch up there, so just wanted to have a little more to get up into the wood. I got my all-purpose sheetrock, and then I got this brush. That should be able to do the finish that you see there, the swirl. I measured from the inside of the swirl out. It's 12 inches. This is 12 inches, so I'm gonna try that. That's gonna be the most difficult part for me, because I do want to try to blend it as much as I can into what's already up there. Obviously, tape measure. I got some duct tape just in case I need help putting the board up and holding it up there. And then I got this fiber tape that if I need it for the seams, I'm going to use it, but if not, I'm not going to open it and I'll bring it back. Got a rubber hammer just in case I need to pound that board up. I didn't want to use a regular one. And then obviously a drill, not a drill. I'm drilling. So the drill, that's everything I need. With the actual board, I got a full-size piece of drywall board. I'm $48 into it. So for a repair like this, 48 bucks, do it yourself. I got more drywall than I need. So if you had a larger hole than this, you'd still be in that price range for doing everything. So beyond that, just a little bit of time, a little bit of learning, and that's where we're gonna go. Got my piece of drywall here, my T-square. So I'm going to measure out 30 inches. That's my 2.5 foot piece. Make a little line there right at the edge. And then I need a 3-foot piece. So I'm gonna go this way with it. T-squares there. Let's see over here, 36. It's 36. I'll make another line there. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and trace down my T-square to where I need it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut this piece. So just got a utility blade. I don't know if you ever cut drywall before, super easy. Just dig this into the drywall, make a couple grooves with it on both sides that you want, and then you just kind of hit it with your hand and it breaks apart. I think one of the tricks is going slow and having a good blade. So make sure you change your blade out before you do this. Stay on the line as much as you can. And then once you go through again, you'll see the blade drops in a little bit lower. It's a lot easier to go through. that piece cut, bring it off of your space, crack it down, and then you can go and cut that piece again, and then you'll do the same on the other side. Drywall cut here, and what I want to do is just make sure that it's covering up the area I'm looking to do. So maybe go all the way that way, and here it's pretty flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball it, make some marks on my corners. My corners are at. Without moving the board too much. These don't have to be perfect because we're going to measure it off. So if you can't hold that up there, you're going to want to make sure you have someone to help you. So I got my 4 corners. And my next step is going to be getting my T-square again. And I'm just going to go in and actually make my trace marks with my T-square. So I got this piece. I'm going to go ahead and put that against the wall, assuming that the wall is flush, but my lines aren't, which is alright by me. I'm going to go ahead and just trace my line. One line there. I'm going to flip around and do all the other lines. Here you can see my hole. See where I kind of came through. Put those nails in to put it back up. I got studs going this way, so that's good because I got one stud here and one here. So for my piece, I got those right in the middle, and that's what I want to do to make sure I got good support. So once I get this hole cut out, what I'm going to do is get my piece, kind of stick it in, make sure it fits, cut any extra edges that I have to, and then I'm going to pre-drill the board with some screws that line up with here, so I can just zip them in once I'm up here. Again, you have easier with 2 people doing this, but one-man team over here, so I'm going to take care of that. We're going to go ahead and cut this whole piece out. Now, take your time doing that. You want to make sure that you're really following your lines, you're taking your time. You don't want to end up going further out than you have to after you already made your trace lines. So that's what I'm going to do here. Get that part started. Part I am going to start to pull down on here. Wanted to make sure I did a couple extra cuts through this, try to get it as grooved as I possibly can. It should start to break away, and there's a lot of insulation up here, so you're going to see a lot of that falling, but that's just the kind of insulation we have there is this stuff. So a lot of that's going to be on the ground. It happens. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this down and see how we do. See up in here, that's kind of where they started to do their stuff. So there's a little bit of equal matter. Not good. your eyes. I don't want to pull down all that, but I want to make sure that if I can keep it flush, I'll try to do that, but I got to make sure that when I'm sticking my other piece in there, it's not impeding it from being flat, so try to keep as much of that. Not real keen on getting back up there and spreading it around, but that's probably going to be something I have to do. Corner down. You can definitely see and smell that the squirrels are out there, so something that needed to be done now. I have a little bit of wire up here. That's phone wire we don't use, but there are some nails and screws in these studs, so I'm going to unzip those. I'm going to get my other piece in and see if it fits back up in there. To make sure that my board piece fits up in here. Hopefully it does. Really upset if I didn't. I think I gotta orient it the right way. That way or this way. Where I cut. So there we go. Alright. So pretty good. I got a little bit of gaps here, but I'm not worried about those because I'm going to fill that all in with plaster. So my next trick that I want to do is look at where those studs are. And if I had my marker on me, I would actually draw the line. So I'm going to get back down, come back up. I'm going to mark the studs on here, and then I'm going to use my T-square to make a line so I know where I can make some drill holes. I'm going to pre-drill this board, and then I'm going to get back up here with the drill and zip it in so it goes right in where we want it to. I'm going to make them about a foot apart, and then just make sure I grab these edges here, so then that way it's on there good. So I'll be back to do that part. Part again, got my holes pre-drilled. Trying to hold the drywall in the middle too each time I get up here. It's not a huge piece, so it's not bending a lot, but just want to make sure that it is even. It's fitting into that hole the way I want it to. Oh, nothing. Put those pieces in. Go ahead and grab my drill. Hopefully I'm hitting a stud. I am. So one there, one there. So there we go, I got all of them up. It's a little bit lower there. I want to make sure all my ridges close up. I'm going to put in 4 more screws just on these 2 ends here. Kind of eyeball those ones, my original marks. You don't want to go too tight because you will end up cracking the board a little bit. Nothing you can't replace, but on bigger boards, I'd be a little more concerned. A lot of dust. So make sure the rest of these are flush in there. didn't know what I was doing with this part. I know even little. You thought I didn't know what I was doing with this part. I know even less about spackling. Spackled before, spackled walls, but when you have a finish like this and you're trying to go over a big seam like that, don't know as much. So I do have some of this tape. I'm not going to video this part just because it's going to take me a while to do, but I'll kind of give updates as I'm going. These two pieces right here were actually sagging. I'm betting that there's a nail or a screw here and further out, so this part wasn't as flush. So I ended up zipping up a screw outside of my cut zone, and it raised this area up. So I went right into where that stud was at. These parts over here are okay. They don't need raised, but I think that's because there's probably a screw closer to the edge here where it broke. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to spackle this. What I want to do is kind of get my head up against the ceiling and see how flush it is. This part's raised up a little bit, so I'm gonna have to put more in this corner. Definitely a lot less over in this corner because it's almost pretty much flush. It's even drooping a little bit. So I'm gonna use this tape to kind of push it in, push it up and secure it, and then spackle over it. Now, I know at the end of the day, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a noticeable area here where I fell through. It's just, can't avoid it. What I want to do is just make sure I do a good job with the spackle now. So I'm going to really take my time doing it. I'm going to spread it on this entire piece. Really go over these screws. Make sure that your screws, when you put them in, are actually recessed up in the board. That way you could spackle over them and create a smooth surface. So I'm going to get started with this. The key to this is letting it dry. So it takes about an hour to dry. So once I put my pieces, or I start to spackle it on, I'm going to let it dry. Come back, show you where we're at. And then I'm going to try to do this finish. I showed you the brush I have. I'm going to see how that works. I have a couple pieces of drywall that obviously broke and fell through that I'm going to practice on first before I come up here and start to finish it. So see what we turn out like, but that's where it's going to be. So I'm going to cut out some of this part if you're watching. If you have any questions, you could ask them below. And while you're waiting, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So here is a look after my first spackle job. I just went around the edges and then I took care of the screws. This is still very wet, so it's going to dry and hopefully whiten up a little bit, but my next steps are going to be to make sure everything stays the way it is. Now you can see these seams here. I had to use that tape in those gaps. I could not get the spackle to catch up there, so I used the tape. I'm hoping that the actual pattern that I do over top of it gets rid of some of that, as well as when I sand, I'm hoping that some of the sanding takes care of a little bit of those lips. But like I said, I don't think you're gonna get away from not seeing some kind of square up in my ceiling, even if I paint it. So this is now gonna let this dry for an hour or so, come back, revisit the spackle, see if there's anything else I have to do. I did drag it a little bit down into the middle here, try to make it as even. I think the biggest thing that I noticed while doing it, ended up using the bigger brush and just kind of scraping it, putting some chunk in the middle, scraping it all along those sides like this, and that pattern around those edges. So I think that really helped smooth it out going down and create a little gradient, or grade down, not gradient, graphic design of me coming out. So that's where we're at now. Gonna let this dry. We'll be back in an hour or so to see what it looks like. So this next part is my spackle. I'm gonna do my pattern. So I took my mud, added a little bit of water to it so it had a little more of a liquidy consistency. Still sticky. And then I have a roller I'm going to use here, and I'm just going to use this to apply it to the entire area right now, and then I'm going to use my brush. But I'm actually going to do a little test first to see how I like the way that the brush looks. Make sure it's close. I guess even some of your best laid plans don't work out. Brush I got's not going to be able to do the swirl, so everything that I kind of talked about with that, this is obviously some kind of harder surface that they used that was grooved that came up and did this. The brush just isn't giving enough texture, it's not blending well. Even with this little bit runnier material that I mixed together with the mud isn't working, so you saw me spread that on, didn't like the way it looked. I do have somebody, I have a name of someone that will actually just do the finishing part. So I'm probably going to bring that guy in to actually do the finish part here, but as you can see, the hole itself, pretty much unnoticeable. You can't see any of those grooves that I put in, and once this all dries, it's just going to be a pretty flat surface, so just having that guy come in and finish. So as always, I want to thank you for watching this random review and how-to. Again, be careful up there when you're walking on your trusses, don't want to slip through. Should you do that, now you have the video to go ahead and fix it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below.